Hi there, my name is Krista and welcome to my channel. This is a weekly reading for the sign of Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising for the week of April 23rd to April 29th. So to get in touch with me or learn about me and my book and the cards that I'm using today, everything is in the description box for you, including a link to a site called Always Astrology, where you can go to and learn what your rising and moon sign is in case you don't already know that. So Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising, if this isn't resonating with you, you can always look at your rising and moon readings for the week and see if those help clarify any better for you. But I do hope this is meaningful to you in some way, generally this week, my dear Cancers. So I'll be doing a little bit of a different spread this week from the other two that I've done so far. Just a 3-card spread this week with a bottom of the deck for general energy. And we'll look at a central position and clarifiers for the central position for the week, Cancer. And then we'll be drawing a card each from the other decks, the Healing with the Angels Oracle and the Medicine Card Tarot. And for your general reading here, we'll be using the Wisdom of the Oracle deck. So I do hope you like it. And let's begin. I wish for my dear Cancers all success, joy, and wellness. I invoke spirits of love, light, and beauty. I call upon Archangels Michael, Metatron, Uriel, and Gabriel to guide this reading in peace, clarity, protection, and wisdom. I ask Mother Gaia to bless this reading for Cancer. So we're looking at general messages for the sign of Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising for the week of April 23rd to April 29th. So Cancer, we're still going through a Taurus in retrograde until I think mid-May. So you could still be revisiting issues, particularly relational issues, issues with the opposite sex, issues with, or concerns dealing with appearance, romance, money, possessions. You're revisiting something this retrograde in order to stop from participating in behaviors that don't serve you any longer. So that's generally what retrogrades are good for, is it allows us to revisit things that we wouldn't necessarily look very closely at or we're in the habit of avoiding, to skirt around, to get around the issue, but we keep winding up in the same position, and giving ourselves a hard time for it. So this retrograde is just around things that regarding keywords for the sign of Taurus, whose home planet is Venus. So, love, beauty, femininity, and so forth. And relationships and fairness as well. So you've got your 3 cards drawn and no light card at the bottom of the deck. We're looking at the Fates, card 17, and the Fates keyword is karma. So this is a karmic week for you, Cancer. This is a week for you to get to the bottom of things. Like I said, that you're forcing yourself, or you're being forced to revisit or to get to the bottom of, or to look at square in the face, so that you keep from making patterned decisions that don't appeal to you any longer, or that you don't find any comfort or security in. So this is a good week to face some things square on, that you feel fated to, or that you feel that are karmic debts or karmic situations particularly, like I said, regarding all things related to the sign of Taurus. So the things that I brought up while I was shuffling. And I'm focusing generally on relationships with the opposite sex, but it could be partnerships as well, or even a relationship with yourself. So how you talk to yourself, how you deal with yourself, how you even see yourself in the grand scheme of things on a macro level in the world. So Cancer, the central position card is orphaned. You may feel left out or you don't know where you belong, but you might have put yourself here. And it's not a bad thing. Being orphaned isn't always a bad thing. It means that the time has come to develop a sense of courage here, a sense of belonging that you create. So instead of having somewhere to go, somewhere to belong to, something to cling to even, this is asking you this week, Cancer, to give something up, for yourself, to, give up even that type of clinginess, that type of relatedness, belonging even, so that you can find yourself, so that you can release a karmic debt or a fated debt. And in the process of that, find the courage that you've been avoiding. And I'm not going to say lacking here. You're not lacking courage. You've been avoiding it. And this is a really deep week for most of my signs. This is the fourth reading so far today. And there's a lot of, I wouldn't say heavy as in bad, but there's a lot of heavy, there's a big question period for people this week, for it seems like most signs, in terms of what are you willing to do to get to the next level, where do you find yourself and who's putting you there, and are you happy there? Are you confident, comfortable, satisfied there? Or if not, what are you willing to do to get out? But it will be a little bit of a lonely process this week, Cancer, only because, like I said, your association or affiliations this week are going to come into question. Not necessarily relationships, just because this is a karmic matter, but you're looking at things on a grand scale this week. This bird woman who's sitting in the nest is stuck there, in my opinion, for two reasons, because both reasons amount to courage or a lack of courage, but the same outcome. So with lack of courage or lack of being able to face something square in the eye, you're going to be stuck either way. You're stuck in it, or you're going to fall, or that's a metaphor, euphemism, or you're going to wind up where you began and have to start over again. And I think you're tired of it. I think you're tired of feeling like you have to go somewhere to belong somewhere. I think you're ready to make for yourself what you want for yourself this week, but it does feel a little lonely doing that. And I think that's natural. I think breaking away from a crowd and feeling, or an affiliation or a partnership, whatever that means for you in a general way, even an attitude, can feel quite lonely. I think that's natural. It won't last, right? It won't last. It's just what comes with a sense of breaking away, of illusions or even things in the material world. But this breaking away from is guided or is under the auspice of a karmic relationship or karmic beliefs or feeling fated to something. So it's no small beans, but it is an energy. It's not an actual physical force. So be patient with yourself this week about what you're feeling, Cancer. I don't feel like you've been cast out from anything, by the way. I don't think there's been this orphaning of you. I think that lots of people are clamoring for you. I mean, you're still as welcome and wanted and desired in these groups or affiliations or projects. It's just that you are making the decision to be a little bit of a lone wolf. And that is for a larger purpose. You're looking at the larger system here. You might even just need a break from something. It's really interesting what's coming on either side of this orphaned card, though. There is a here and now card, which is literally here and now. Your central position, you're in the moment, you're willing to face it. And then to the other side is not for you, which is the card of holding up a reconciliation or a game of something where you're done, you're over it, you don't want to be there anymore, it's not serving you. So again, you're not being kicked out of anything necessarily, but on a karmic or fateful level, I think you're looking very clearly at something in the face and you're ready to accept something. It's just that it's going to come with a sense of loss. There is a goodbye here. But it will serve you because, they say one door closes, another opens. I think you'll see in the not so distant future how this will serve you to a greater extent and to greater things than what you've presently been exposed to or allowed yourself. So to the right of orphaned is, and I say that from the right looking as if I were the cards on the table. I know it seems like it's to the left, it's on my left, but I'm looking at it from the right. Anyway, I hope you understand that. The here and now card is you just knowing exactly what you're doing. You're really confident and aware of what you're doing and why, and you're putting a lot of intention and energy into this, whether or not you are getting outside support. And it's because I really feel that you're aware that this is a karmic issue for you. It's something that is about you, and it's something that you really do have to do for yourself, by yourself this week. The here and now imagery has two poles, so you could be looking at something black and white, day and night, something seasonal or cyclical, or something that is even good and bad. What side do I take? What position do I take on something? It is going to be a black and white decision for you. And are you present in the moment? Are you here and now? And if you are, that's probably going to be your saving grace this week, is to be here and now in the moment, just literally one day at a time, right? One day at a time, and be gentle with yourself. Because this took a long time to get into, whatever you're getting out of or moving away from, and it's going to take a similar amount of time to get away from. But it is a process, and please be gentle with yourself about that this week, Cancer. You're very aware of what you're doing, very aware. And you've done a great deal of contemplation or study or examination. But there is and because of that, I think for the first time in a long time, you're allowing yourself surrender to cycles, to the natural world in terms of time, where we live by calendars and clocks, which is a manufactured time. But I think you're aware of cycles, natural law. The natural world is really what fate is. We can only control so much, right? We're only in charge of so much. But if we refuse to live in the here and now, we'll be working against our greater good or our karmic call. So being present and being willing to be in the here and now, taking it day by day, the steps that you need to do to face something or to get to the bottom of something, you're really being courageous about and really taking seriously this week or for the last several weeks, or even through this retrograde in Taurus, for example. You're really letting yourself come to terms with something that you've been avoiding for some reason. I mean, we've, for some reason, of course, because it's uncomfortable, or we don't want to face it, or it doesn't feel like the right time, or who has the energy, or what have you. So definitely letting yourself face something that you weren't before, to your benefit by being in the here and now. So, and again, so to the left of orphaned is the not for you. This could simply be something that is a release, but in order to release something that isn't working for us or that we don't want in our lives anymore, so again, that could be something material, an idea, thought, an affiliation, something on a macro level, like where do I belong? Where am I removing myself from? in order to go somewhere else. This could be something as simple as saying, I'm willing to let go. I'm willing not to be part of that anymore. Or that doesn't serve me. Or I don't serve it in a fair fashion, whatever that it is for you. And saying, you know, it's okay to close the book on projects or ideas or concepts, especially when they feel faded. It's okay to move on from that because perhaps that lesson has been learned finally. But it did take, or it will take this week, a lot of soul searching and understanding that this is for the greatest good, that you're letting go and you're being aware to face whatever it is you're facing. Looking it square in the eyes and not trying to skirt around it anymore will bring you a huge sigh of relief. It's just that it's going to feel, you're going to feel it. You're going to feel, I'll put it to you this way. There's going to be something that's going to create something that can be considered a void this week, Cancer. And I'm going to suggest that while you're facing this one day at a time and you realize it's not for you and it's for the best and it's at a karmic level and you're okay, all that good stuff, I think if you remember this, that of any void needs to be filled with something as good as or better than what filled it in the first place. Okay, so if you can take that message today with you, that there is a void this week, or you'll be facing something that's going to encounter some sort of void for you, a release from something, an emptiness, a loss, that you can feel that for yourself, and that the search this week or the karmic reaction to that this week is to take it one day at a time, recognize it's for the best, and to fill that void with something as good as what was there before or better than. So this week brings you a great opportunity to do yourself a great favor of creating a new gift or even a new world for yourself. So let's look at some additional messages from the other decks regarding this spread for you, Cancer. This is for the week of April 23rd to the 29th. So any additional messages for Cancer this week for April 23rd to the 29th? You may even find that through this process you gain a wiser sense of yourself, but in addition to that, a sense of understanding of other people's loneliness or pain or suffering that you didn't before. Not because you personally had to go through it, but because you've had to let go of something that you didn't even think you could face or want to face. So if you feel any loneliness this week, or if you feel any heaviness, or that there's something really big happening and it's, you have, one day at a time, and if there's any struggle, please reach out, Cancer, to your most trusted confidant, whether or not you speak of this general matter for you with them. The fact that you're reaching out and creating spaces of communication and love and awareness is really of utmost importance for you this week. This is gorgeous. You have a lot of support this week, Cancer. You've got two cards jumped out of that deck. You've got Woman Medicine here with the otter and the card of Mana with the dolphin. You'll notice both animals are in the water. There's an emotional heaviness this week. There's a lot going on under the surface, whatever you're presenting here for the public. But you're still very gentle and you're still vulnerable. You're also very peaceful and interested in communication, togetherness, fulfillment, and relationships in general, that not necessarily romance, but relationships in general where you're finding peace and happiness and togetherness within, taking care of one another, by knowing who to turn to, and that this is the best route for you. Avoidance isn't your thing this week, even if it was before, or it was a coping mechanism before. I think you're at a place, Cancer, this week where you're in it, okay? Like both of the water symbologies here, you're in it. This is where you belong this week, and this is the time to do it. This is the karmic opportunity during Taurus and retrograde that you're able to do this week and get the support you need and to learn the skills that you need to, as I said, to create something to fill that void, whatever that is for you, with something as good as or better than. Okay? So keep remembering to be gentle and kind to yourself and kind to the people around you. You are or have developed a new understanding. This sounds weird, but a new understanding of suffering or having been orphaned, okay? But that other people have experienced. This isn't about you understanding something for you. You're understanding something on a macro level where this is, you're growing because of this. But you have to feel it. It is a feeling. And you do have a great deal of support and a lot of love to give. So just remember to be gentle with yourself this week, Cancer. Especially if you're struggling or if you're around energy or personalities that are struggling. And remember, one day at a time. You're here right now, and really, right now, honestly, is where the magic happens, right? It's where the magic happens. So we're looking for one more additional message to the reading this week for Cancer. There we go. And music. So this is gorgeous, this too, Cancer. This just reminds us that there is a lot of power and energy and healing through music. So if there are songs from your past or childhood, music that you make or sing, or that you appreciate, that bring you great depth of feeling and togetherness, calmness, or understanding this week, to tune into that and really pay attention to that. Or if you haven't been listening to music or playing music and you feel like that's missing in your life, or if music is a connector for you with regard to relationships or filling a void or getting through something, Spirit is asking that you turn to that this week for some added benefit and energy, and that you do so in a joyful way. They could be even bands or music by women or about women. So I hope you enjoyed this reading this week, Cancer. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope that it was healing in some regard for you and that it resonated with you. Please take good care of yourself, and I hope to see you for your next week's reading. Take care, Cancer.